Hi, this is Miriam from the University of Waterloo Arts faculty. Today I'll be speaking with Dylan, University of Waterloo Arts alumni. So hi Dylan, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. So we can just jump right in. Would you mind telling me about a little bit about yourself and your connection to the Faculty of Arts?
Sure. So like you said, my name is Dylan. I graduated from Waterloo in 2011. Or no, sorry, I started in 2011. I did 5 years in the Faculty of Arts. I have a degree in psychology with a minor in sociology. Um, and while in the arts faculty, I was also involved with the Arts Student Union. I held a couple positions there, mainly being president for about 2 years.
Awesome. So I guess what made you choose Waterloo Arts and how did you know it was like the right fit for you?
So what sold Waterloo Arts and Waterloo as a whole for me was definitely visiting the campus. It it really set itself aside when I got there and was on the grounds and was touring the campus and meeting students and faculty that were there. And it really felt like a community to me. Some of the other universities that I toured before I went to Waterloo, they were kind of sparse and spread out in a different city or kind of out of town a little bit. Whereas Waterloo, Ring Road really encompasses Waterloo. And then even more so in arts, so you have that arts quad where you can stand in the middle of the arts quad and you can look at, all of the different buildings that you're going to have the majority of your classes in. And now with the Haggy Hall Hub, you can really stand in this kind of central space and realize that this is your community and this is where you're going to spend your time.
Yeah, it's great having all of like your buildings kind of all together in one space and you have Porcelino right in front of you and
Yeah.
it's really great. So what would you say to someone applying to arts at Waterloo or thinking about arts?
I definitely recommend, like I said, go tour the campus, go see it and go meet some people and, take that tour if pandemic allows. But really meet people and understand the environment that you're going to be in and really immerse yourself, because that's something that you don't know until you get there, how great it really is. Um, and then also in arts, when you're looking at what classes you're going to be taking and how you're going to structure your program, take a bunch of stuff, be adventurous with it, take some classes in different interests you have, because you never know. I mean, going into Waterloo, I thought I was going to do sociology as my major and psychology as a minor, and I got there and I flipped, and it ended up being great. So, keeping yourself open to new ideas and the different options and seeing what else is out there for you.
Yeah, I think it's really crucial for students to explore different areas that they think they would be interested in. It's really good to experience different things. So what's your current job position? Like, what's it like?
So right now I'm a lead investigator for anti-money laundering at the Bank of Montreal. So I left arts and got a job at a bank, which is maybe not the most expected career path that people take. But I've used my degree and the background that I got more than I ever expected with what I'm doing. Um, Working in anti-money laundering, it's all about pattern recognition. It's all about understanding movement of funds and activities and having a background in psychology and sociology where it is so heavy in pattern recognition and data management. It's really helped me, I think, grow in my career and get to where I am today.
Nice. Were you admitted in the co-op program?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. So I guess was it tough when you were finding that first job through your own job hunting?
I think it's tough for everybody. I think it's such a it's such a transition when you go from um, being a student to being in the working world. But something that really helped me was all of the soft skills that I had developed while being at university. I think it gives you build those skills without really even knowing that you're building those skills. And I think especially with people in the arts faculty where you have such a diverse class base where other than kind of your direct major classes, you might have extremely different classes from year to year. So you get to kind of sharpen those skills so often with doing presentations and working in group projects and meeting people, and that's exponential if you get involved with any sort of extracurricular on campus. I mean, you grow all these skills and resources that you can tap into when you go into the working world, where, you know, walking into your first interview, you feel kind of prepared. You feel like you've kind of walked through these paces before. And I think it's something that's, I think, somewhat unique to the arts faculty, and it's something that's really helpful for people.
Yeah. So how do you think your program, I guess, helped you with your career path? I know you kind of like already said a little bit about that, but what in specific do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, and I think this is something that can be said for a lot of degrees in the arts faculty, is it's thinking outside the box, and it's applying meaning to something that doesn't necessarily have an overall meaning. Whereas, you know, when you look at things like the arts programs like philosophy and language studies, psychology, sociology, anthropology, it's looking at um, you know, data points and then interpreting that into meaning and being able to articulate that. And that's essentially what I do. I mean, I look at data and I interpret meaning to it, and then I present that meaning. And without doing that, you know, so often through my schooling career, that it would have taken me a lot longer to get to the point where I am today, because I would have been building those skills in my career instead of coming into my career with those skills already being built. And that's something that I owe completely to the arts program and the schooling I had at Waterloo, for sure.
Yeah, that's really, really great. So for someone who's trying to find their first job placement, what are some tips that you can offer them or any advice that you can give?
And you'll hear this a lot, but networking, as cliche as it sounds, it's networking, having people, having contacts. You know, even going back when you're trying to get that first job, sometimes having references is tough. So being able to go back to professors you've worked with or to faculty you've interacted with and being able to pull on those references is huge, because when these companies or wherever you go are looking at potential candidates, one of the first things that stands out is references. And so having that network and having those people you can rely on is huge.
Yeah, for sure. When finding your first job, I guess, how did you make yourself stand out to employers?
Um, Definitely talking about the extracurriculars that I did. It was something that kind of, I think, put me in a little bit of a unique position. Um, and then just talking about, you know, the different initiatives that I was involved in, and saying, you know, and talking about the experience that I had where, you know, I am a little bit of a confident public speaker, and I can lead a group, and I can, you know, I have these skills that maybe many of my the other candidates don't have. And I can kind of use that to set myself aside from everybody else and put me, you know, in a different position.
Yeah, I think it's really, really great to get involved with the school, even if it doesn't have anything to do with like your program or your career path. Just
Yeah,
having
not at all.
something that like you are involved in with the school is really, really great. Were there any important connections that you made at Waterloo that I guess kind of helped your career path or helped you grow to be who you are today?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can point to many. Working with the Student Success Office when I was there, working with the Arts Undergrad Office when I was there. Um, you know, kind of being part of the overall system that was there really helped you take ownership. And it helps you that when, you know, you're going through those classes, and having this other thing that you can have, that you can take pride in, is so huge. And then looking back, you know, you have all these connections that you've made where like people reach out to do something like this, or, you know, different connections, and to still have that ownership and still have that connection was so important.
So once you graduated, what advantages did you feel that the Waterloo experience gave you that made you stand out to amongst competitors?
I think definitely coming from that diverse background that the arts does give you, where, you know, you had your main focus, but you also took all these other classes that allowed you to think in different ways and consider different things, and just to grow in general as a person, and through all these different areas of focus is really, I think, something that's so important. Um, because at the end of it, when you come out of it, you have this specific area of focus, but you also have all of these other different interests that you've developed throughout your time, and it allows you to kind of be a more well-rounded person in many ways.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. So last question, what's your favorite memory from the University of Waterloo? Is there anything that you miss in particular about being a student or even on campus?
Oh man, favorite memory. That's tough. There's so many, but definitely the things that I miss about being on campus is that community that I talked with earlier. When you're in the art squad, there's just something special about how it is so much of just a funnel where whoever's on campus at some point is going to pass through there, and just seeing so many familiar faces all day, every day. You know, even the friends that I had that weren't in the arts faculty eventually would pass through the art squad. And it's just always knowing that, you know, you're going to campus and you're just going to see so many people that are like-minded people is always so great. But in terms of favorite memories, definitely the groundbreaking and then the grand opening of the hub was something very special to me. Seeing it as a project that was, you know, a student initiative from beginning to end, and how it is something that is quite literally brick and mortar and will stand the test of time, is something that really made evident to me of how much of an impact that students can have on the campus and the world. And, you know, I think a lot of times people kind of get in that thinking of like, oh, we're just students, you know, like what can we do? And you kind of, it's great to be able to be like, this is what you can do. You know, you can do, quite literally, you can move Earth. And so that's something that's pretty special, I think.
Yeah, for sure. The hub is definitely one of my favorite spots on campus, and it just gives you a sense of belonging, I guess, in the arts faculty.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah, well, that does conclude our chat for today. I really do appreciate the time you took. It was great getting to know you and I guess hearing about your experiences at Waterloo. I think it'll definitely benefit a lot of different students to kind of get the idea of what it's like to be a Waterloo student. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was
Yeah, of
fun.
course.